let me start out by saying how proud I am of our guys for winning that game. That was a hard-fought game. It was tough. We didn't play perfectly, but we played well enough to win the game. And those of you who've been with me before on senior night, it's such an emotional time for everybody, for the staff, for myself, for the players, for their families, for the people in the audience who are real close to these players. And it's so hard to get your energy level at the right spot at the beginning of the game. And I thought we did a fantastic job at that. And I'm going to miss every single one of these seniors, including the managers. I don't know what I'm going to do without them. They've been with us this entire part of the journey and are the real reason why we're where we are. So I couldn't be more proud to have them, to have coached them, and to watch them become adults. Really going to miss them. So with that, why don't I open it up for questions? And since it's so early, I'm sure you've got many.
Is that why you decided to do the ceremony after the game?
Yeah, we tried it a little differently this year because the first 5 times I've done this, it's been really emotional before the game, and it sort of, I think it saps your energy. It certainly saps mine, and I wanted to give these guys every chance possible to win the game. So we tried a different way, and you know how I am. I asked the players before I made that decision. I wanted to make sure it was okay with them. They all agreed, and that's how we ended up doing it after the game.
Roberto seemed like he was a little bit of a different guy in overtime than he was during regulation.
Yeah, it's very hard when you're the leading scorer in a conference the second time around. Everybody figures that if they stop him, they can stop us. So it was a tough time for him during the entire regulation part of the game, but in overtime, he just, he doesn't have to fight for those extra rebounds and get that ball to go in, and then the pull-up three. I mean, only he can make that shot. That's, and for those of you guys who haven't heard me say that, this kind of game is not a coach's game. This is a player's game. Players win these games. I'm just out there trying to sub guys and give them rest and not mess it up. But, those guys had to make plays to win that game, and it was nice to see them do it.
Craig, in the second half, there was a point where you yelled at Roberto to give the ball to Angus, was open up at the top of the key. But in overtime, how important is it that every possession is important? How important is it that Roberto?
So yeah, and so you have to understand the context of that. We had just had a timeout, and everybody was on the page to run a certain play. Now, in a game like this, when guys are tired, just that quickly they can forget what to do, and that's what happened. So I had to give them a little reminder, and then we ran the play. I think we scored, and then but in overtime, when guys are still tired, that's when your seniors and your best players have to take over. So we made sure we got the ball in his hands, and even though he wasn't having a good game, he's the guy you want to have the ball because the kinds of plays he made. That fighting inside with the big 7'2" guy was something to behold because everybody was going for that ball, and who ends up with it? Roberto. And then that pull-up three, we've seen it many times at practice. We've seen it many times. So, I knew what he was going to do. My staff knew what he was going to do. My team knew what he was going to do. My wife knew what he was going to do. And he did it, went in, and that helps win the game.
Roberto said that after regulation, players went up to him and said, basically just expressing confidence in him kind of taking over the game.
Yeah.
Is that something that, did you talk to him as well about?
Well, I don't need to tell him. He knows,
What does it say about your players that they
Well, it's what you need and what you look for with your seniors. You want the rest of the team to know, okay, this guy's gonna get the win for us, and that's exactly what he did. And then you look at the other seniors. Angus made a great defensive play on Jahi Carson. I mean, go figure. You got your tallest guy guarding their smallest guy and their fastest guy who's probably going to be in the NBA next year. And he stays down, stays low, stays in front of him, contests the shot. Fantastic. But, again, that's what your seniors should do for you.
You also had a nice performance from a freshman. Talk about Melvin in the first half and what he gave you out
Yeah, you know, I love his offense, but it was his defense that made me really sit up in my seat. I mean, you know, Carson's a good player, and he's savvy, and he knows how to get fouled. And I thought Malcolm did a fantastic job staying in front of him. I mean, he made him take some really tough shots. But offensively, I mean, those shots he hit were, I mean, there weren't any bigger ones. I mean, we were sort of in a funk in that first half, and he came in and sort of popped us out of it with that first shot, and then it seemed like he fed off of each shot, and then he had an opportunity to take a fourth one and didn't, which is very mature for a freshman who's hot. You know, most guys would try and do a heat check and see if he could make 4 in a row, but he brought it back out and ran the offense. So really good to see him have such a good game and feel confident.
What do you think of Moreland with the board in 19?
Yeah, I mean,
Against the big guy.
well, speaking of NBA players, that Baczynski's going to be in the league. I'm sure of it. I mean, he's just a very, very good player. I am stunned that there were over 70 rebounds to be had, and we kept him off the boards to only get 4 of those. Eric had a lot to do with that because he had 19 of them. So that was a big game for Eric, and it was a big game offensively for him. When you get 16 points and 19 rebounds, I mean, and 3 blocks, come on, 4 steals too Eric got. I mean, he was, you know, we started out in the 1-3-1 for the first time in a long time, and Eric was the guy at the top. Eric Moreland and Jarmal Reed make that thing run, and that was a really good effort by both of those guys. But Eric's play was just fantastic. I mean, you know, when Eric plays, in order to beat good teams like that, Eric has to play like that.
How long Langston did you play?
So let me share a story with you. After the last game, Arizona, Langston came to my office. So that was Wednesday we played. Langston came to my office Thursday morning, and he said, "Coach, what do you think about Devon starting in my place?" And I was taken aback by that because of how hard he's worked to get to where he is. And I thought that was very mature. And then go figure, what's today, Friday, Saturday? Thursday night, an incident takes place, and he's suspended for breaking university rules, not my rules, university rules. So I'm heartbroken for him because when you do something that mature and that selfless, and then you have something that was, you know, that unfortunate happened right after, I hope you guys don't focus on the negative and focus on the positive.
Is there anything more you can say about?
There is, but I won't. You know, you guys know me.
Is it just one game or is
That I don't know because it's university rules, so I gotta assess that. And our leadership is in Seattle. Make sense? Okay. Joel?
Craig, what did you say after the Gillings thing? I mean, did you see what
I
happened there? 'Cause
I did, because we have had probably 3 or 4 of those flagrant type technicals called on us this year in our own gym, and they never go in our favor. And Gilling, in the heat of the moment, and I think he is a terrific kid and not a malicious player, did something unsportsmanlike, and I just thought the refs didn't see it. So I was pointing it out, and now that you've been around for a few days, you know Angus was hurt last year. So every time he goes down, I almost run out on the court and help him up. So then he has to go out because I go out to attend to him. So he ran, when he fell like that, because that was an awkward fall for a guy who's 6'10". I think he fell forward, and I ran out there. And as I'm going out there, this unsportsmanlike event happened, and I was just making a point. It wasn't like I ran out there because of it. I was actually running out there anyway because Angus fell.
How much momentum is there to be gained from a win like this right at the end of the regular?
You know what? I like that question at this point in time, because this is why. I thought that since USC, we've played 4 really good games of basketball for the most part. We just didn't come up with 4 wins. So I've felt this momentum building since LA. And I'm hoping whoever we end up playing, we can carry this over, because now it's crunch time. Every single game counts for any kind of postseason, whether it's NCAA or NIT. We want to be in the mix, so every game we win is going to be important.
How much did your guys regroup and kind of refocus after the Washington loss?
It was really good. You could see it at the beginning, or I could see it. I don't know about you guys, but I saw it in the start of the USC game. I mean, that was probably our best start, not even just on the road, our best start all season. I mean, I thought we just, boom, came out. We were just so much more aggressive. They didn't have a chance to regroup. And I think our guys feel that. They feel confident. They feel like they're playing well, and it's just the one loss record that's not where we want it to be. We could easily be 10-8 as opposed to 8-10. Guys had enough? Good, thanks.